something rare is unfolding. A portal marked by the numbers 18 and 18 is active, and with it comes an invitation that only a few will recognize. Throughout history, thresholds like this have been seen as turning points, moments when the ordinary world bends and the doorway to deeper awareness opens. In ancient traditions, a portal is never just a date on the calendar. It is a crossing, a liminal space where you step from one phase of being into another. The number 18 carries its own vibration. Across mystical numerology, it speaks of transformation, of endings that prepare new beginnings, and of service. The higher calling to rise not only for yourself, but for the lives you are meant to touch. When this number doubles, 1818s, its resonance multiplies. It becomes a signal for chosen ones, urging them to awaken to the mission buried in their soul. This day, the 18th of September, is not an accident. Energy aligns in a way that can sharpen your path. But alignment is never automatic. It asks for discipline, awareness, and courage. Through Shaolin wisdom, mindfulness practice, and the principles of mastery, you will see how to step into this moment fully prepared. In this video, I will guide you through 5 spiritual truths you must know about your mission during this 1818's portal. You will hear teachings rarely spoken of, drawn from the roots of Shaolin discipline and the stillness of Chen insight. Stay with me until the end, because each step builds toward a key that unlocks not just knowledge but transformation. I am Shi Heng Yi, and I welcome you to Shaolin Soulfire. If these teachings resonate with your journey, make sure to subscribe and walk this path of mastery with us. The strength of your life is measured by the strength of your attention. When your focus scatters, your spirit scatters with it. In Shaolin training, the first lesson is not in the fist or the kick, it is in the mind. A student once came to me, eager to learn forms and combat. Instead, I gave him a candle flame. I asked him to sit before it every evening and watch until his breath and the flame moved as one. He grew restless, certain this was not real training. But weeks later, he understood the power to hold his focus was the foundation of every strike, every step, every choice. Attention is the brush that paints your destiny. Where it lingers, life grows. A mind fixed on fear will harvest fear. A mind held in gratitude will discover abundance. This truth is simple, but not easy. The world is full of noise designed to pull you away from center. Every distraction asks for a piece of your spirit. To master yourself, you must learn the art of returning. Again and again, no matter how many times the mind wanders, you guide it back. In Shaolin philosophy, we call this practice guarding the gate. The gate is your awareness. Not everything should be allowed to enter. Just as a monastery guards its doors, you too must decide who and what gains your attention. Small daily acts decide the shape of a lifetime. Choosing to breathe instead of reacting. Choosing silence instead of endless chatter. Choosing to watch the candle flame even when your thoughts run wild. Through these small returns, you become unshaken. Focus is not stiffness, it is presence, and presence is the ground on which your mission can finally stand. In the Shaolin way, the body is never seen as separate from the mind or the spirit. Every movement is a dialogue between the visible and the invisible. When the monk bends, strikes, or breathes, it is not mere exercise, it is a meditation in motion. Centuries of practice have shown that the body holds the wisdom the mind forgets. To neglect the body is to cut yourself off from the very vessel that carries your spirit. There is a story told within the temple walls of a young disciple who questioned why daily routines of Qigong and Kung Fu were required alongside scripture study. He believed enlightenment could be found in silence and taught alone. The master allowed him to sit in meditation for weeks unmoving. His mind grew restless, his spirit heavy. Finally, the master instructed him to rise and practice the flowing movements of Qigong. With each breath synchronized to each gesture, the disciple discovered his thoughts quieted, his energy lifted. The lesson was clear. Stillness can be found not only in sitting but in the union of breath and motion. Qigong, Kung Fu, even the simple rhythm of mindful breathing are not about building muscle alone. They are disciplines to awaken sensitivity, to feel energy circulate, to anchor the spirit within the body, to ensure insight is not just an idea, but a lived reality. Without embodiment, even the most profound spiritual revelation drifts away like smoke. For one on a mission, this union is essential. A purpose carried only in the mind becomes fragile, abstract. But when intention flows through breath, posture, and action, it roots itself in the world. The embodied spirit does not only think of transformation, it walks it, breathes it, and becomes it. There is a presence within you that never changes, no matter what storm passes through your mind. Shaolin monks speak of it as the silent watcher, the inner observer who sits behind thoughts, behind feelings, behind the endless movements of the world. To discover this presence is to find a still lake beneath the waves. The surface may be restless, but the depth remains undisturbed. In the Chan Buddhist tradition, students are guided to meet this inner witness through meditation and discipline. One teaching tells of a disciple who came to his master in frustration saying, "My mind runs wild. I cannot stop my anger, my doubts, my desires." The master replied, "Who is it that sees this chaos? Who is it that notices the running?" That question became the disciple's practice. Day after day, as anger arose, as joy came and went, he turned his gaze toward the one who observed. Slowly he realized that the watcher itself was never angry, never fearful, never broken. It was clear, steady, untouched. This practice of observing without judgment is not detachment in the cold sense. It is clarity. When you rest in the inner observer, illusions lose their hold. Thoughts are no longer commands. Feelings are no longer prisons. You see them for what they are, passing clouds across the sky of awareness. For one walking a mission, this clarity is a compass. Without it, you can be pulled by every wave of emotion, every deception the world lays before you. With it, you see the difference between noise and truth. The observer is the doorway into alignment. It does not fight the storm nor escape it. It simply remains unmoved, and from that stillness, the path ahead becomes unmistakably clear. A life of mastery is not built on intention alone. Words are light. Action gives them weight. Many proclaim their dedication to growth, but the Shaolin way measures sincerity not by what is spoken, but by what is lived each day. A monk who vows to honor discipline yet neglects morning practice is no different from one who never vowed at all. There is an old account of a disciple who declared his devotion with great passion. He dreamed of becoming wise, of carrying the temple's teachings to the world. The master listened quietly and then handed him a simple broom. "Sweep the courtyard each morning at sunrise," he said. Days passed, and the disciple obeyed. Weeks passed, and his enthusiasm began to fade. He asked, "Why must I sweep when my heart longs for enlightenment?" The master replied, "If your spirit cannot remain steady in this small task, how will it endure the great one?" The disciple understood. True intention reveals itself through consistency. Action is the proof of the inner claim. Ritual and daily practice are not cages but anchors. When you sit in silence each dawn, when you breathe with full presence, when you serve someone without expectation, you embody the mission you claim to walk. These small, steady acts align spirit with body and root purpose in the soil of the everyday. The Shaolin path is built on repetition. Meditation, silence, service, done not once, but again and again, until they shape your very nature. To live your mission, you must weave it into rhythm. Let each breath, each gesture, each act become an echo of your intention. In this way, the mission ceases to be a dream. It becomes the pattern of your life itself. The greatest barriers on the path are not the mountains outside, but the shadows within. Many believe their mission is delayed by other people, by lack of resources, or by hostile forces. Yet Shaolin wisdom teaches that the true chains are woven from fear, envy, and doubt. The emotions we bury and pretend are not there. Suppression does not destroy them. It only strengthens their grip in silence. There is a tale of a monk who could not progress in his training. His body was strong, his dedication unshaken, but his spirit remained heavy. One evening, the master placed him in a dark chamber and said, "Sit with whatever comes." At first, the monk wrestled with anger, with regret, with jealousy. He wanted to push them away. But as the hours stretched, he began to face them directly. He listened. He breathed. He allowed the shadows to be seen. By dawn, he emerged with tears but also with freedom. What he once fought against became part of his wholeness. Moments like the 1818's portal are reminders that time itself offers thresholds for this work. They press us to look inward, to meet the parts of ourselves we have disowned. Perhaps it is the fear of failure that you hide, the resentment you carry, or the doubt you bury beneath ambition. To acknowledge these shadows is not weakness, it is courage. When light embraces darkness, energy returns. The mission becomes clearer, the steps firmer, the heart lighter. Just as day and night complete the cycle, shadow and light complete the self. The portal calls not for perfection, but for integration. And through this union, your path ahead is no longer fragmented, it becomes whole. Strength without softness becomes brittle. Softness without strength dissolves into weakness. In Shaolin practice, influenced deeply by Taoist thought, the art lies in the balance between the two. Every punch carries force, but it also carries flow. Every stance holds firmness, but it must also breathe. To lean only on effort is to exhaust the body and cloud the mind. To drift only in ease is to weaken the spirit. The path requires both, the steel and the water, the mountain and the stream. There is a saying in Taoist circles, the bow that is always drawn will soon break. A monk who trains without rest may appear disciplined, but his energy becomes fractured, his spirit impatient. Likewise, one who hides in meditation, refusing to meet the world, drifts into illusion. The middle way is the true way. It honors both the silence of stillness and the fire of exertion. Burnout is not only a modern illness, it is a timeless imbalance. The ancients understood this. They walked in nature to steady their breath. They practiced stillness to return to center. They honored rest as much as practice, knowing that recovery is itself a form of training. To neglect these rhythms is to step out of harmony with life itself. For the one walking a mission, this balance is essential. Overworking burns the vessel before the journey is complete. Spiritual bypass, hiding behind lofty ideas while ignoring reality, leaves the mission ungrounded. To align, you must root in the earth, even as you reach for the heavens. Step outside into the wind. Feel the silence of trees. Allow the body its needed rest. In this union of strength and softness, your energy remains steady, your path endures, and your purpose flows without breaking. Throughout history, great shifts in life were never left unmarked. Ancient traditions understood that the soul responds to symbols, that outer ritual strengthens the inner change. A simple act, a flame lit in silence, a word spoken with intention can anchor a transformation that might otherwise slip away unnoticed. Ritual is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. There is an old temple story of a disciple who completed a long period of training. When the final day arrived, he felt unchanged, uncertain if his journey held meaning. The master brought him to the courtyard, placed a candle in his hands, and asked him to light it. As the small flame rose, the master said, "This is not just fire, it is your effort, your discipline, your awakening made visible." The disciple's heart steadied, for the ritual gave form to what had been invisible within him. Moments like the 1818's portal serve as thresholds. They are opportunities to declare a new chapter, to cross consciously into a deeper alignment. Lighting a candle on this day, writing your intentions in a journal, or sitting in silence while acknowledging what must be left behind. These are not empty gestures. They are ways of signaling to yourself and to the unseen world that you are ready. Such practices do not need grandeur. Their power lies in sincerity. When you repeat them with presence, they carve meaning into the fabric of your life. The outer gesture plants the seed of inner resolve. And as you move forward, you can look back to this ritual as a marker, a reminder of the moment you chose to step more fully into your mission. In this way, ritual becomes not performance, but a quiet act of mastery. A mission carried by ego eventually collapses under its own weight. The Shaolin path reminds us that true purpose is never about domination or self-glory, but about service rooted in virtue, compassion, and humility. Strength alone does not make a master. The measure lies in how that strength is used. When it uplifts, protects, or heals, it becomes sacred. When it feeds only the self, it becomes hollow. There is a story of a seasoned monk, known for his flawless skill. One day a villager approached him, not to challenge him, but to ask for help carrying water up a steep hill. The monk could have dismissed the task as beneath him, but instead he took the buckets and walked beside the man. The villagers later spoke of that moment more than his years of combat displays. They said, "His greatness is not in what he can destroy, but in what he chooses to carry." Mastery reveals itself most clearly in suffering. How you hold your own pain, how you meet the wounds of others, these are the true tests. To turn away in indifference hardens the spirit. To meet suffering with compassion softens the heart without weakening it. This balance of strength and tenderness is the essence of the path. Even the smallest acts of service refine the mission. Listening when another feels unseen, offering silence instead of judgment, sharing knowledge without expectation of praise. These are not grand gestures, yet they sharpen integrity like a blade against stone. When mission grows beyond ego, it ceases to be about personal triumph. It becomes a way of living where each step, each word, each act leaves the world lighter than before. And in this, the mission fulfills itself quietly, without the need to announce victory. There are moments when the path demands more than effort. It asks for release. A portal moment is one of these. The ego, restless and proud, insists on control. It clings to outcomes, to timelines, to proof. Yet the spirit knows a different wisdom: surrender. Not as weakness, but as trust. Trust that growth continues even when the fruit has not yet ripened. Shaolin masters often remind their students of the bamboo. It spends years strengthening its roots beneath the soil before it breaks the surface. To the impatient eye, nothing is happening. Yet in silence, unseen, its foundation is being laid. When the time comes, it rises swiftly, already steady because of what was hidden. This is the nature of surrender, believing in what you cannot yet see. Chen Buddhist teaching calls this non-attachment. To practice it is not to stop acting, nor to abandon responsibility. It is to release the grasping that strangles peace. When a disciple once asked how to achieve success in training, the master replied, "Work with all your heart and then let go of what you expect to receive." The disciple discovered that his movements grew more fluid, his breath more natural, once he stopped forcing results. Surrender does not mean lying down in passivity. It means walking forward with discipline but leaving space for the unseen to move. It is the courage to plant seeds and accept that rain and sun do not obey your command. In these portal times, such surrender becomes vital. By yielding control, you invite a deeper order to guide you. The mission unfolds not in the grip of the ego, but in the quiet trust that every step, seen or unseen, is already carrying you toward wholeness. The journey of mastery is measured in years, not in moments. Shaolin training itself is proof. No student becomes skilled in a week. No spirit matures in a single season. Endurance is the true companion of wisdom. The one who persists, who returns each day to the path even after failure, is the one who grows unshakable. There is a story of a young disciple who grew frustrated when his strikes lacked precision. He wanted speed, progress, recognition. His master handed him a basin of water and asked him to carry it down the mountain path every morning. At first, he resented the task, but over time, his steps grew steadier, his balance surer, his patience deeper. When he returned to his training, his strikes carried a calm strength he had not known before. It was not the lesson he expected, but it was the lesson he needed. This is how the path unfolds, through slow layers of practice. Daily rituals of breath, monthly reflections, yearly commitments to growth. These repetitions weave discipline into the bones. The 1818's portal, like any threshold, is not about sudden transformation alone. It is about choosing endurance, committing to time as an ally rather than an enemy. Setbacks will come, as they always do. Detours will test your resolve. Yet these trials often teach more than easy victories. A stumble humbles the spirit, a delay strengthens patience, a loss refines clarity. To embrace these as part of the training is to walk in true alignment. Mastery is not a race. It is a rhythm. Step by step, year by year, the mission matures alongside you, and in honoring the long road, you discover the strength that endures beyond every passing moment. The 1818's portal is not just a date, it is a mirror. It reflects the discipline you carry, the shadows you have faced, the balance you maintain, and the patience you allow. These teachings are not fragments. They weave together into a single path, guiding you toward the fullness of who you are meant to be. When you bring attention, embodiment, integrity, shadow work, balance, ritual, service, surrender, and patience into your daily life, you align with your mission not as an idea, but as a lived truth. Each small choice, each act of awareness, builds the strength to walk your path with clarity and steadiness. Take these lessons gently into your day. Light a candle, pause in stillness, breathe with intention, and let your actions reflect the purpose you carry within. The mission does not arrive all at once. It unfolds as you embody it step by step. Thank you for walking this path with us. May these teachings steady your spirit and keep your heart clear. If this message resonates, we invite you to like this video and subscribe to Shaolin Soulfire, where ancient wisdom continues to guide modern seekers. Peace be with you.